Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Tech How-To, brought to you by Itechra. My name is Dylan Adink, and today we are going to be setting up VEEAM replicas using VEEAM. A prerequisite to this video is that you have the VEEAM server installed and your host added. For those of you who don't know, VEEAM is an enterprise-grade backup system that protects your data by keeping backups locally and off-site of your virtual machine environment. It also allows you to quickly restore them in the event of a failed physical server, ransomware attack, or just about any other reason you could think of. While VEEAM supports restoring and replicating entire virtual machines, it also allows you to simply restore a file from a previous backup. Now that we know a bit more about VEEAM and its capabilities, let's dive into what VEEAM replicas actually are. A VEEAM replica is an identical copy of a VM from any given point in time. Now you might find yourself asking, what is the difference between a replica and a traditional backup? The difference is that a replica already exists in your virtual environment. It's basically a VM that's in a cold standby state. It's just left for you to turn on in the event that the original VM becomes unavailable. So say you have two physical servers that run a hypervisor and one of them fails. With a replica, all you have to do is turn on the replica VM. If you only have backups, you have to manually restore the backup, which leads to longer downtime and can be added pressure to an IT department when dealing with a system outage like that. It also can take more time to restore from a backup depending on the complexity and size of your VMs. Now let's take a look at how to configure a VEEAM replica job. In our virtual environment, we only have a standalone Hyper-V server, so we'll be replicating onto the same host. The first thing that we're going to do is open up the VEEAM console, which I have already done. Next, select the Home tab and select the Replica Job option. Then, select Virtual Machine. Go ahead and give your replica job a friendly name. Today, we're going to be setting up replicas for our VM IT-DFS01. So I'm going to call this IT-DFS01 Replica Job. Now in the description, you can add a little more details about the job, such as how often it runs, the order of the job, or anything else that might be helpful for your organization. Here, there's some advanced controls option regarding the virtual machine networking for DR sites or disaster recovery sites. We don't have a DR site set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave these unchecked, but you may want to check with your DR vendor before proceeding with the replica job. Now, let's go ahead and add our virtual machines. So, click the Add button over here, expand your host, and select the VMs you want. Note that you can select multiple VMs by holding Control and selecting Add. Today, we're only going to worry about IT-DFS01, so let's go ahead and click Add. Go ahead and click Next. And now we're going to go ahead and define the destination. What's important to note is that if you have two physical virtual machine servers or hypervisors, I recommend that you replicate the VMs onto the other host. So say you have a host or a VM called DC01 and it's on host 01. I recommend that you replicate it onto host 02 in case of the event that host 01 becomes unavailable. So let's go ahead and choose and then click Hyper-V, and we're going to go ahead and click our host here. Click OK. You can define the path that you want the replicas to be saved to. I'm going to go ahead and just keep that default path there because that's fine for our environment. And here, under the job settings, you can choose the repository. We only have the cloud backup copy running in our environment, so we're going to go ahead and keep that the same. And then for the replica settings, you can add a suffix at the end of them to quickly identify that it's a replica. You can adjust this to whatever you want. I've seen some people use -R underscore replica like the default. It's totally up to you and what your organization prefers. For the retention policy, I usually go ahead and keep this at 7 days. That way you can restore from a replica up to 7 days, or up to 7 days back. For the data transfer, I think most of these apply to the DR site recovery, and it requires a different license than what we have. So we're just going to go ahead and keep these as defaults. For guest processing, we're going to go ahead and keep that as default. If you have specific applications that need specific credentials, this is where you would define that here. You can schedule the job to run automatically. You can pick a certain day. You can pick a certain or a specific week and a month, or you can even run it every hour or periodically every hour, or continuously if you so choose to. I'm going to go ahead and keep this set for 10 p.m. every day, and then go ahead and just leave these as the default. You can terminate the job if it exceeds the backup window. So if the job for some reason is hung up or it can't finish, it'll go ahead and automatically terminate. So let's go ahead and click apply and finish. So you could have checked the box there that said to run the job automatically. I'm going to go ahead and just right click and go ahead and start this job. And once the job's complete, I'll check back in with it. Alright, so you can see here our IT DFS01 VM was successfully replicated in the job. It processed about 16 gigs of data. This VM isn't that big at all. It's just a test VM. So let's go ahead and test out our replica. And we can do that by going into IT DFS01, and we'll shut it down. Alright, so while that's shutting down, let's go ahead and pull up our Hyper-V host. And we'll go ahead and connect to DFS01. And we can see here it's turned off. Good. Alright, now let's go to DFS01 underscore replica. Notice that here. And we'll go ahead and start it. And we'll go ahead and connect to it. And make that big. Alright, so we'll check back in once the DFS01 replica is back online. Alright, so now it looks like the VM is back turned on. Let's go ahead and try to log into it. Alright. Go ahead and open a command shell here. And just verify that we have some network connectivity. Alright, so we can ping out to the internet. Let's check DNS. And we're getting replies back from our domain controller. That's good. And let's just ping google.com to verify external DNS is working. Alright, that looks good to me. Notice how we got the unplanned shutdown here. Alright, let's check out the control panel. And we'll go to system. You can see here it still has the name ITDFS01, and it still has the same IP address assigned to it, which we can verify that as well. Yep. So basically now this is just a replica of ITDFS01. Alright. Thanks for stopping by for this week's Tech How-To, brought to you by Itechra. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment for more weekly Tech How-Tos.